Oh, that's better.
Is it better though?
Well, it's at least acknowledged, so we don't have to guess.
Shout out to our two viewers.
Two view.
Hey. Hey, everybody. This is Wicked Spursy, Mike, Steve, and Dave. Steve, my man. How are you, buddy?
Dave, I am doing pretty damn good. For a Monday, all things considered, right? And given the absolute garbage match that we had to witness. But aside from that, great day. Isaac started daycare, or started preschool at daycare, I should say.
Okay.
So typically it would be like on his third birthday or later. But because of the way they like have this buddy system set up where when somebody moves up to the next room, they take their buddy with them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess a space opened up and they just pulled Isaac in. So now he gets to play with all the big kids and they're going to teach him his letters and his numbers. And it's all very exciting stuff.
And some swears.
Well, no, I've taken care of that myself. But
okay, good.
It's not my fault. I just can't help the road rage.
Yeah, it's preschool, so they'll teach them about Santa Claus. They'll teach them every swear word. They'll teach them gender, sexuality. They're just going to cross off all the big things, right? That's
that's what I heard from the those kind folks over at Florida? Is that the state that's doing all that shit?
Kind folks over at Florida. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call them kind, but
over at Florida.
Florida.
Although to any of our Wicked Spursy listeners in Florida, we do love and appreciate you, but we are speaking more globally about the politics of where you live. Hey, Mikey Blinder, what's going on in your world, buddy?
No Mikey Blinders this week.
What are you talking about?
It's Mikey.
Mikey's on a blinder. He's playing a blinder right now. That's what
look at the size of this fucking thing. This is where we're at right now. No, that's an 8.2% beer right there. And it's delicious. I'm great, Dave. Actually, I'm fantastic. Actually, no. We had some stuff that happened this weekend, right? Yeah. We did.
Just decide, Mike, are you good or bad? Like, you can even lie right now.
Sports wise, like life, fucking great. Just great. Had a decent weekend on call. Didn't interfere with any of the crap that I needed to do, which was watch that thing we call a football club, and also watch that thing that I like to call my F1 team.
Yeah,
we
share both, Mike, and it's kind of rough, isn't it?
Oh man, that was a rough start to the season. But
you want to let our loyal Wicked Spursy fans know where our F1 allegiances lie? I'll let you do it.
Yeah, we're Team McLaren.
I'm baby.
I'm a big Lando Norris fan. I think he's got the right attitude. I was a Carlos Sainz fan too, but things happen. But I'm glad Ricardo's gone. He's got a bad attitude. He doesn't have a bad attitude. He's just a cocky shithead. And we have the new young guy coming in, Piastri, and it looks like it might be a nice season if they can get their fucking car issues sorted out, that the same fucking issues they've been having for past 3 seasons. So
indeed,
we'll see what happens. But other than that, like, life is good. Work has been good. Started to grow the beard back. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, Dave.
We are, absolutely. I wanted to say I watched today. I watched final episode of the most recent season of why can't I Beyond the
Drive to Survive?
Drive to Survive. Why did I say Beyond the Grid? I don't know what I was getting at there, but yeah, it's time. It's time for them to end that series. Like it clearly this last season just didn't have the punch that the previous one did. So,
which is crazy because it was such a good season.
It was, and they didn't capture it very well. The way they approached it, like they did these thematic things that kept bouncing across all the races. I don't know. It was poor. I do want to say also, more pop culture. You guys watch The Traitors at all? Either the UK or the US version on Peacock? Yeah.
You
fun
mean
watch.
Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars. No, if you watch The Traitors, I'll be curious your if you land on the same assessment that I do, which is people are stupid. Like people think that their instincts and their gut and are spot on. Absolutely not. People are goofballs and cannot figure their way out of a wet paper bag.
Dave, I don't need to watch a TV show to already know that.
Fair. That's very fair.
What are you drinking? Grape juice there out of a mason jar?
Boxed wine out of a mason jar.
You love that boxed wine.
I was coming up to my my pod layer tonight, and Beth said, "You're not drinking a beer?" I said, "No." I said, "Going with wine. It's a little better for the Mediterranean diet that I'm on at the moment, you know." And
it's a Mediterranean wine.
Well, it's grapes.
It's grapes could be a great episode title, by the way.
It's grapes. That might be a decent
It's
one.
grapes.
Absolutely.
It's sour grapes.
It's grapes in a ball jar. Hey, yeah, there's no segue I can do there.
Football. No segues.
Football. What do we think about it? Steve, why don't you start us off, man?
I think it's a load of shit. No,
hey Mike, what you drink? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was it.
No, it's Spurs is just such a frustrating team right now. And given our position in the league, you would expect us to be putting on some solid performances, getting results against the teams that we need to. But over the last few games, the trend is almost like the inverse Spurs, right? We're winning the games that we're not expected to win and then losing the other matchups, right? Like we comfortably beat Chelsea just a couple of games ago that we didn't even get to talk to because we promptly shit the bed. We beat City and then lost, immediately. I just don't understand. There's a consistency thing that, you hear the coaching staff talk about the mentality of the team and needing to have that stronger mentality. How can you be mentally strong enough to go toe to toe with a team like Manchester City and then get knocked out by relegation fodder? Like, I don't understand that. Like, and this isn't an isolated incident either. Like, that's the thing. This has been happening to Spurs specifically for years now, where these games were on paper we should easily win, and we can't do it. We hit the post, nothing goes our way. The opposition goalkeeper has the game of their life. Whatever excuse it is, it's just that consistent for us. And it's happened across managers. It's happened across, different players in the starting lineup. The only consistent thing about it is just how awful we've been in these situations. That and the fact that for whatever reason, we keep hiring these managers who refuse to make impact subs at a reasonable time.
Before 80 minutes.
Yeah, an impact sub doesn't mean bring Lucas Moura on.
Bring Lucas for Decky. That's not what it means.
No. This is one of those games I think that highlights exactly why we as fans are so frustrated. I mean, we were all chatting on our WhatsApp chats about who was underperforming, who needed to be taken off, what changes need to be made to solidify the game and try to get us the result that we absolutely needed. I mean, fourth place could have been ours to hold on to. Instead, we're at the mercy of Liverpool now, dropping points with their game in hand. That's
who just put a touchdown on United, by the way, right?
Exactly. So that's a team on the up and up. I don't expect them to start dropping points anytime soon after that morale boosting victory. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have needed to really worry about them taking fourth, but here we are. And it's great. Like even the most adamant Sun supporters are out there like, why is he still playing when the system doesn't suit him? He's not doing his best work. He's not really offering much to the rest of the team. And yet he gets the full 90 minutes when somebody like Decky, who was, trying things, making runs, putting balls into dangerous areas, he gets hooked for, again, Lucas fucking Moura, whose one trick is run very fast in one direction and hope it works. It's just baffling to me that the coaching staff is that stubborn that they will not make these sorts of changes. And look, I love Son. He can be an incredible performer, but he's just not on his game. Why do you keep playing somebody who's not performing well when you've bought options that just sit and rot on the bench. I mean, Danjuma's hardly gotten a sniff at the game. His one real appearance for us, he got a goal. That's a pretty solid return. I mean,
on his debut too.
And then what does he get for his troubles with that? He gets what, like 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there. He's not getting much of anything. And yet the underperforming players in the team continue to get game time. And the last point I want to make, so I don't take everything from Mike, is just, for the love of God, Harry Kane, stop fucking taking free kicks. Just stop it. Pedro Porro, with his one effort, was closer than you ever been.
He was on target.
10 seasons. Like, just fucking stop, dude. You're not good at that. You're a fantastic goal scoring machine, but you cannot score a fucking free kick. You can't do it. It's fine. Admit it. Hand it over to Pedro Porro. Hand it over to fucking Eric Dyer. Son has a better record with them. Just stop it. Get some help.
Hey, Steve, when you were talking about Lucas Moura a minute ago, you talked about the best thing he does is run in one direction. And when you said that, I saw Mike tear up because that was his favorite boy band, and he said that they broke up. Mike, what do you think about what Steve had to say in the football over the weekend?
I wasn't listening.
Yeah, it tracks. Mike, you want to give your brand new fresh take?
Fresh take, Mikey.
Fresh take, Mike. Listen, it was pretty bad football over the weekend. We talked about Sheffield United, so we don't have to talk about that again. But
aren't you glad? Aren't you glad we potted last Wednesday and got that one out of the way, so we only have one bad match to talk about?
Yeah, right. But other than the fact that we didn't get to speak on Chelsea really in that time's past, but
true.
I don't necessarily I don't want to believe that Son is having a bad season or it's just a bad run of form. I think that they're not playing to his strengths, and his strengths are not dropping back, and it's not playing up with his back to goal and controlling the ball. He is at his best when he's running in from behind onto balls that are brilliantly played to him. Excuse me. That's when he's at his best. So I don't actually believe he's a different player or he's in a bad run of form. I believe that the system isn't suiting him, and I think that the system it isn't being allowed to change to suit the players that we have. Like, the Conte system was supposed to be suited kind of to any player that comes in, right? Or that's there, right? And we saw it last season. We know it worked. But what did we talk about, right? We talked about the dig against Conte was that he gets figured out quickly. His systems get figured out quickly, right? So what happens is that he moves to a different league, or he moves to a different team within that league, and he's got different players, so that the system works with the players that are there. So he moves from Inter to Tottenham, right? Or he moves from Chelsea back to Italy, or wherever it is he goes, he is able to bring that system back into that league until it gets figured out, and then he moves along. And we had talked about that, right? So I think that it's just that the system has been figured out. I don't think the system is anything that's ever going to be flexible, and with that inflexibility, it doesn't allow for other players to get significant runs, right? And the system is built so that it's a one game a week system, because that system is built so that the same players are getting the same playing time every single match.
So after Wednesday, it's going to work marvelously then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. I mean,
there we go.
I think that Tottenham's got an absolute chance to win that game.
And I wasn't trying to push you forward, by the way. I just was commenting on our prospects.
I just no, I'm just trying to, I don't want to sit here and like play the doom and gloom game about the Wolves match, because everybody who listens to this podcast and listens to other podcasts or has watched the game knows exactly what is going on or what happened in that game. So we don't have to sit here and rehash all the bad shit that happened. We do have to kind of try and figure out why it happened. I mean, that's what our job is here.
Hey,
Right.
related to that, can I ask a question, Mike? And this is a question I've asked before, but I want you guys to enlighten me because I can't figure it out. I have come to learn, in my adult onset love for world football, that systems do matter, and that maybe uniquely compared to other sports, like the lineup, the substitution patterns, the timing of it, and how you put a player in a position to succeed or not succeed can have a significant impact. I have come to realize that. But I also really struggle, like when we talk about Sonny and we talk about how the system doesn't suit him and doesn't suit his strengths. I can't come to terms with a world-class athlete not being able to adjust, because in other professional sports, athletes are expected to adjust. They're expected to adjust and adapt to whatever the system is, as opposed to the system either suiting them or not suiting them. Can you guys help me understand like why it is that someone like Sonny can't make the pivot to be able to thrive in the Conte style system?
He's playing a different position.
But he's a world-class athlete.
Sure he is. But like,
Dave. Let me ask you this. Why can't Harry Kane score a free kick?
It's a great question.
He's a professional world-class athlete, right? You would think that he would be practicing this on the training field. You would think that he would be, taking pointers from an elite high-level coaching staff, and yet he just can't fucking do it.
And Steve, this is a bogus argument, but I know that when you go to work every day or when you hop online every day, things that you're not good at, you're expected to get better at them, right? You're not just given like, well, Steve's not very good at that, so we're just not going to ask him to do it. That's bullshit. Like when you're a professional, you figure out how to improve at the things that you're not good at. And that's the disconnect I can't come to terms with. Obviously, I don't get it. Obviously, the Harry Kanes of the world, if they can't do it, they can't do it. But I just can't connect the dots on that.
So here's the thing, right? Like, I'm an analyst. I spend all day in Excel spreadsheets and building data models and, trying to tell other people how best to run their business so that they can maximize their profitability, right? I work on a marketing team, technically. If you asked me to open up Photoshop and design an ad, I would not be able to do that, right? I'm technically part of the team that handles that, but that is not my specialty. So I am not expected to do that or get better at it or even help in that context at all. That is how I'm trying to understand this, right? So Son is like me as an analyst who's being asked to design an ad. It's just not his skill set. He is not really capable of doing that well. And if you really wanted him to perform best in his role, you should be putting him in a position to succeed instead of forcing him to do something that is just going to end poorly. It's the same with Harry Kane and his free kicks. He's never going to do it. Somebody needs to have the balls to say, dude, you suck at this. You can't design an ad to save your life. Just stick to spreadsheets. Like, that's your wheelhouse. That's what you're good at. Just stay in your lane, dude.
So I get that, Steve. I totally get it. But I feel like the distinction there is we're not asking Son to play center back, right? And so like to me, there, I feel like he should be able to make the pivot in attacking in the same way that you can make the pivot in analyzing data, manipulating what's in front of you. You know what I mean? Like it
you
feels
are
like
asking,
there's a slightly different piece.
They are asking Son to play sort of a modified wingback role though at times. And sometimes they're asking him to play, up the middle or with his back to goal. He just doesn't do that. Those aren't his strengths. And I get that he's a world-class athlete, but there are world-class athletes in all sports who have, because of the system, thrived or not thrived. Like, like what allowed Kevin Durant to thrive at Golden State versus going to somewhere like fucking Brooklyn and not being as effective. I mean, outside of injury issues and that kind of stuff, like it's Steve Kerr's system, which is a modified version of the Phil Jackson system, right? The triangle offense. There are players who Lamar Odom was another one who was just kind of he was a good player, a middling good player, but he came to the Lakers under Phil Jackson and just blossomed and then went away again and fell apart. Right. I mean, so it's like that. It's like baseball is another good example. Somebody like Carl Crawford was like a world-class left fielder, in Tampa, but he goes to a new place. He's with different players and believe it or not, people don't want to believe this. They want baseball to be a simple game, but there are systems, and under a different manager, and with different batters batting around him, he became a completely different player.
All right. So two things. You guys
completely lost it.
Number one, you've done a good job from different angles of giving me some clarity. And number two, new podcast title for tonight: Mike and Steve excuse Son's limitations. That's what we're going to call this pod. How does that sound?
I would just like to throw one other option out there.
Okay, let's hear it.
Harry Kane, stop taking free kicks.
That's also a good one. We got lots of options tonight.
I feel like if I say it enough and I put it out there, maybe through sheer dumb luck, he'll hear it and he'll say, hey, this fucking dude in Vermont who has never set foot in, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tells me that I need to stop taking free kicks. I'll show him. And either he'll, stop and take my advice like he should, or, maybe that'll be the added incentive to get him to actually do good at them.
We do have a bit of history of affecting Spurs actions by things we talk about. So might as well. We can go with that.
Why
Mike,
not?
by the way, what's the hat you're wearing? I can't tell if that's a UVM hat or I think I see a buck on it. Like, what am I looking at?
Arrowhead Lodge.
It's the Arrowhead Lodge.
It's the Arrowhead Lodge. Is that social appropriation or cultural appropriation at all?
Oh,
is that offensive?
I don't believe it is.
Are you?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it is.
Do you have native ancestry?
Possibly, but that's
possibly
doubtful. I'm very despite my last name, I'm very Irish and English.
That's why there's two O's. There's two O's in your name.
I thought
Popovich
with a Vitch at the end. I thought I was Italian for the longest time. Turns out I'm not.
You just really like pasta. I get it. I'm the same.
You do look like Mario with this mustache. I mean, I'm going to give you that.
I've explained this a billion.
Hey, Mario.
I've explained this a billion times that Mario did not have a curly Q mustache. It's just fuzzy and puffy. Also Luigi. So enough of that shit.
All
anyway,
touche.
Yeah. So the Arrowhead Lodge is this it's a bar basically that has been at the edge of Lake Arrowhead. And it's been like a bunch of different bars, and it's like it's in this old rundown like mill building that was part of the power plant or whatever for the dam there. And the folks who have it now changed the name to Arrowhead Lodge. I don't know why, but I don't know their reasoning for it. But they completely gutted the inside. They gutted the apartment buildings above it and redid everything. It's beautiful. Like they have now behind the bar a big glass, a big piece of glass that actually is insulated, and it opens up and you can see the actual original foundation of the building. It's like a 300-year-old building. It's That's crazy. Cool. It's like a stone. It's like a beautiful stone foundation. They've opened it up so you can see it behind the bar. It's actually really cool. But I'm a member there, so. Nice. It's not really a lodge, but I'm a member of the Mug Club. So
a Mug Club.
Mug Club.
Mug. Oh.
Like, hey, you filthy mug, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Nice mug, whippersnapper. So anyway. I don't know where the hell I was going.
Yeah, nowhere fast.
No, you asked me if it was cultural appropriation. It's not.
All right.
I don't think you're.
It's Lake Arrowhead. It's Lake Arrowhead.
Yeah, you don't get to decide that.
Well, then who gets to decide that?
Whoever
Because we should-
owns the culture where the imagery came from.
That's correct. And I don't believe the Abenaki have challenged the naming of the lake. So
Yet. Yeah, there you go, Steve. Right there with you, buddy.
Actually,
Mike, just throwing out like close to home. Did you see that the challenges for the Minuteman have emerged? The Minuteman Wars are
the
coming up.
Minuteman Wars up
Yep.
here. It's the Thunderbirds.
Yes, I saw that
one
as well.
And the Abenaki have actually come out and said, yeah, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, they said, yeah, we're good with that.
So that said, back to football, or are we going back to basketball or baseball? Where was I? Tom Brady?
I don't know, man.
No,
I'll tell you,
Tom Brady.
I'm excited about baseball, Mike. I've been watching some preseason games, watching the how the pitch clock is playing out, and some of those adjustments. Kind of fun. That'll be a different.
You know how
for
the
us.
pitch clock played out today?
No, I didn't see anything today.
Justin Turner got hit in the face.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So the pitch clock is I think the pitch clock needs to be longer if they're going to have one, but basically the pitch clock is affecting pitchers in a way that they have to speed up their whole thought process. So if they see that pitch clock start counting down, getting close to it, they have to make a split second decision, which could affect the ball that they throw and how they throw it, if they're trying to get that pitch off quickly. And Justin Turner got fucking hit in the face today
because he threw a bad pitch.
Yeah, it was a terrible pitch. It was way up and in. It was released, and it wasn't one of these, for lack of a better term, Major League Baseball pitchers.
Gotcha.
Nobody
part,
on the Tigers are actual Major League Baseball pitchers, but
right. That's the challenge.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, watching your teams, especially playing preseason games right now with WBC going on, like it's kids with numbers in the 80s and 90s, basically, is what you're seeing on the field. But
yeah,
I digress.
Our boy Jakey Bombs is now got a number, so that's good.
Oh yeah,
he's wearing 30.
Yep, that's a good number. Used to be Maglio Ordonez's number way back in the day.
The Jerry curl.
Steve, there's a question that we always like to ask that I'd like to give you the honors of asking today.
Me?
You want to take it? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I'm touched. I'm honored. And I'll ask the question for you, Dave.
Thank you, Steve.
But it's not directed at you. It's actually directed at Mike.
I know.
And I'm sure all our listeners would love to know and will be joining me collectively in asking this question. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Well, Steve, I love it when you ask that.
Do I not have to say it now?
I don't think you do. I was spot on, wasn't I?
That's a fantastic impression.
What's funny is, like, I was listening to another Spurs pod, and the host there took it out on I'll just call it out. It was Dr. Tottenham, and Sammy called out Dan for something that bothers me with that.
Good,
because
Sammy needs to punch back every once in a while.
He does have to punch back.
He takes a lot of shit, Sam. Like, Sam, if you're listening, like, we got your back, dude. We got you.
So yeah, he did. Dan always has this thing where he's like, "Can I say?" And he said, "Wait a minute. No, you can't. No, you can't. Just say it. Just make your point." So he actually called out Dan, Agent Dan Morgan, who I really like. So
that's because he never called out Tim. Sammy, you need to call out Tim more often. Don't mess with Dan.
I did call out Tim on their live stream the other day, and I apologize, but it was funny because his drink of choice is Corona, and I called him out for not drinking an IPA.
Ooh.
So today, guys, this is a fun one because it's a brewery that I don't rate that often. My good friend Terry from Pro Pig went and worked for them and straightened out their brewing system there, and
love Pro Pig, one of my favorite restaurants.
Yeah, and Terry's brewer there. So, he's a City fan, but that's a whole other story. He straightened out this place's brewing process and helped them out over the summer. It's Mill River Brewing. Mill
What's it
River of
called? Cyborg Falcon?
That's
Cyborg
pretty cool.
Falcon.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, I was going to get it. We went there. My wife and I went there to celebrate her birthday. We took the kids.
Yeah, that's up by you guys, right? Pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up in-
and I said,
up in-
I'm going to get one of those. And I said, I got up to the bar and I said, you know what? Do you have this in 4-packs? And they said, yes. I said, okay, I'll get something else then. So, because I knew I would want it for this. I don't know what's in this beer. It doesn't have much info. It says, oh, it's Peregrine Falcons.
Oh,
Are in the beer.
that's got to be it. That's the
It's
only
made-
logical
it's made with-
explanation.
Mike culturally appropriates and drinks beer made from birds.
Endangered birds.
Yeah.
Oh, the Peregrine.
All right, bro. Whatever.
Oh, God.
Just asking to be canceled tonight.
It's got real bits of Peregrine in it, so you know it's real.
Real bits of Peregrine.
I
Peregrine
see
know
a
it's
photo
good.
there, just right out of the can. Authentic.
50% of the time, it works every time. Yeah, so the other thing I'm assuming has probably got like Falconer's Flight hops in it. It doesn't really say. You looking it up, Stevie?
I'm trying to
This is-
look it up.
this
Well, I'm
is
looking it up on the
Peregrine-
website, not on the reviews. Steve, you
Peregrine
on reviews?
Falcons.
I am now.
Whoa. Peregrine Falcons have been clocked at reaching speeds of that doesn't read right, but of 242 mile per hour while diving for prey, making them the fastest recorded animal ever.
Mike, can I say this really quickly? I'm going to call them out. They got some cool can art. I'll give them that. But their Crawl It Off double is a blatant copy of Sip of Sunshine's can color scheme, which is somewhat disturbing, but just throwing that out there for you.
This one?
Blatant copy of it. Yep. Look up Mill River Brewing Crawl It Off, and you'll be like, yeah, I see what you did there.
Like I said, I don't like my friend Terry did make their icebreaker beer, which I really enjoy. All right, so we'll just get into this. It has a similar color to the Sip of Sunshine that I just had, so not a similar smell. I don't like the smell at all. It smells like cigars.
What?
Yeah, it's weird. All right, here we go.
Oh, that's a face.
That is a face.
For our audio only listeners, you really have to hop on these live streams. Like that was just, I don't even know how to describe that. That's like
it's kind of like a young Mike ate a Sour Patch and didn't know what he was.
I was gonna
into
say
type of thing.
young kid gets clothes for Christmas. Like
Thank your grandmother.
but it's not even my size.
No, it's not Mike eats a Sour Patch Kid. It's Mike eats a Garbage Pail Kid.
Garbage Field Kid.
This beer, this beer's not good. I'm sorry.
All right, so just for calibration, Steve, that gets us under 2.7. I'm thinking. Can we agree that that's like a threshold cap?
I would say so.
I don't know if
I'm
I
gonna
don't
get
know if I'm conditioning the negotiations here. I'm not sure of that, but just trying to do what I can.
Influencing him with your own biases.
I am. At least I'm not wearing
Biases,
an appropriated hat.
No, but you are appropriating
It's a
somebody
great hat.
else's
Look at-
culture with the camo
Look at that.
there.
It's the double.
The Patagonia camo.
The Patagonia camo. I'm a corporate shill.
Nothing says yuppie redneck like a
Nothing
Patagonia
says-
camo.
What did you call me earlier, Mike? Lumbersexual?
Lumbersexual, yeah.
Hey, everybody.
That'd be more like if you were wearing like a $300 flannel shirt.
Well, you haven't seen what
With-
I have under this.
Yeah, you probably it's probably got metal buttons on it too, like the snap buttons.
Yeah, right. Because normal buttons are way too much work.
Yeah.
Ooh,
This
Steve,
beer's not good. I'm gonna have to finish it, obviously, but
Steve, you went hard on your rating prediction, man. I am really curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, you
God.
know what? I figure he's got to get to that level at some point. Why not today?
Stevie,
Amy
did you find a review anywhere?
No, there's one review and they didn't leave a comment.
Ah,
What a douchebag.
So what's the
Steve,
point,
or
right? Like,
Mike,
What's worse than a douchey beer advocate review? No beer advocate review at all. What did they give it? Did they get even a rating?
they did. They gave it a 3.5.
That's bullshit. This beer is a 2.1.
Oh wow, we
Ooh,
split the
we
difference.
totally split the difference. Yeah, look at that.
This beer is a 2.1.
I was 2.3. Steve was 1.9. By the way,
2. You know what 2.1 means? 2.1 means I'm gonna finish it,
But you're not gonna
but
like
I'm
it.
not gonna like it.
I don't know why this seems like the appropriate time, but I was skiing today, so you guys will give me shit for that. But I was skiing today, talking to this guy on the lift, and he lived over in kind of the Mount Snow Dover area, which is in like central southern Vermont. And he was telling me about this bar over by him called the Dover Bar and Grill, more commonly known as the D-Bag. It's like, how cool of a bar and grill name is that? The D-Bag.
That just made my day.
Right?
That made this beer palatable.
Back to you,
This beer is now a 2.12.
2.12.
All right, this beer it tastes grassy. It doesn't taste hoppy. It's got a really bad nose on it. Like it doesn't smell right. It kind of smells like dirt and cigars. And I'm not kidding when I say cigars. Like it smells like tobacco. And it's really bad.
You ever see that
Look,
Simpsons episode where they cross-pollinate tobacco and tomatoes?
and everybody in the town gets addicted to the tobacco plant. It's the tobacco.
This tastes like grandma.
Yeah, it's a great episode. So this beer, I don't even know what kind of hops they use. It is a 7.8% alcohol, double IPA. It's not overly hoppy. It's actually kind of smooth going down, but it's once it hits like the back of your throat, it's like razor blades. It covered in molasses. It's really, really over. It's kind of syrupy tasting. It doesn't even have the characteristics of like a West Coast IPA. That malty, hoppy, bitter kind of IPA. I don't know where to even put this in the scales. Like between, New England, East Coast IPA, English IPA, West Coast IPA. Oh my God, it's giving me the hiccups. It's just not good. It doesn't have any of those like fruity flavors. It doesn't have the citrus. It doesn't have that mango. It doesn't have even the bubblegum kind of flavors that you sometimes get in an IPA. It just isn't. It's just not great. It's a drinkable beer, but like this could be your first IPA ever brewing it, Dave, and this would be a fantastic beer if you brewed it.
If Dave did for his
It's
first
like
time, is what you're saying.
Yeah, this is like a home brewer's, like a home brewer, got a hold of a fucking labeling machine and made a fancy label and a fancy
great name, great label. Yeah, love it, Mike.
Yeah,
I also love.
It could have been such a great fucking beer.
You said something a minute ago that struck me. I like a episode title, Razor Blades Covered in Molasses, because I feel like it just covers everything for us right now. Like that's what our football team is trying to force feed us, is razor blades covered in molasses, and you just described a beer that way too. Maybe something to that.
Yeah. So
what about a song?
A song?
Yeah, what song do you dislike enough to align it with this beer?
Well, we know it's not going to be One Direction. It's his favorite band.
This is true. He's gonna shed a tear.
My favorite band. That's funny.
He really wasn't listening earlier, Steve.
No, of course not.
I don't know. I don't know what you just said either. I wasn't listening just now. I'm trying to find a song in my head. God. I can't come up with anything that I hate as much as this beer right now.
Wow.
It's a small world after all.
No, yeah, I was trying to think of like a whole new world.
A whole new world.
Like, but even that song is like it's got some hope that goes along with it.
Yeah, I don't know that you can call that a bad song or the mouse is going to come for you.
You know what? And it's not a song that I hate because I love the song and I love the band, but I want to kill this beer. So, Pink Floyd, Careful with That Axe, Eugene.
Interesting choice. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I also could have gone with Dogs, but like, you know, Dragged Down by the Stone. You know, the end of that song, as you're being dragged down to the bottom of the ocean by the stone. But that's what this beer is. But Careful with That Axe, Eugene. It's a very ominous and scary song, and has a deep bass line that I actually really love. But I want this beer to die.
And that's
I'm gonna kill this beer. I'm gonna kill this beer, or it's gonna kill me.
There you go. That's been Hey Mike, what you drinking? What was that called again? Cyborg Falcon from Mill River Brewing with maybe our lowest rating and review and song choice yet.
I could have gone with Belle Biv DeVoe Poison.
No, you can't. That's a fantastic song.
It
Girl,
is a good song.
I must warn you. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that song.
We got Dave singing.
Absolutely. You throw a little late 80s, early 90s R&B.
That's
my jam, bro.
Yes, you, love you.
My sister's literally laughing right now on the pod as she listens to this because we know she's not watching live. But yeah, I'm going to hear about this later.
No, our one viewer is
vacated.
No, they're here. They're here. I want to know who this person is because they won't leave any comments.
It's Nicky Winks. This is how he puts his daughter to bed. Just listen.
Nicky Winks doesn't want to hear my takes. He doesn't like my takes anyway.
I think it's our guy Adam, but that's just my my hunch. But
yeah.
If it's you, Adam, what's happening, buddy? It's bedtime out there.
I feel like Adam works second shift.
Perhaps.
We
need to get Adam back on. We need to. Well, we had him on for baseball preview.
Yeah, we got baseball coming up. So,
but I feel like we owe him more than just letting him talk about baseball. We should let him talk about football as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey.
All right.
Let's move on. That was Hey Mike, what you drinking? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. So looking ahead, Champions League midweek. I don't even know off the top of my head who we're playing at the weekend. You know, you like how I said at the weekend there, Mike? That was very English of me.
I do, in fact. We're playing Brentford. We're playing Brentford, aren't we?
Nottingham.
Sounds about right.
Oh, Nottingham. Yeah.
Nottingham. At home with Nottingham, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going to happen, boys?
Both got creepy looking coaches. Steve Fisher needs a dentist badly. Anyway, do you want to hear my honest take? I think we beat AC Milan, and I think it's convincing. And then I think we lose to Nottingham Forest.
Stranger things have happened.
There, that's it. Because I think we have other things to talk about.
I think we lose to AC Milan and the team comes out and says, we're going to give the league our all. It's the only thing we have to focus on. We're going to go all in on the league. And then we're going to lose to Nottingham Forest because that's just who we are.
Nothing's more Spursy than that.
Yeah, let's just, let's get bounced from a cup competition, make these grand statements about how we're going to do better for our fans and show them that, that we are deserving of their support, and then let us down. Just completely fucking let us down. That's what I'm expecting. Just misery. A week of misery.
Steve, I see your week of misery, and I'm going to raise you. We lose to AC Milan. Romero picks up a knock in training late in the week. So we have a back line that looks like Sanchez, Dyer, and Davies. We go into the weekend and lose. And a week or a week and a half from now, Ryan Mason is coaching, managing Spurs. That's my baller call for you right now.
I'm glad you brought up the manager thing because I'm looking at the next manager odds right now for Spurs, and I gotta say, this is just depressing. So I'll give you the top 5, right? So currently top of the list, Mauricio Pochettino. I would support him if he came back, but I just don't know that he's necessarily the option that we want. Like, I think a lot of fans are looking at him through rose-colored glasses. They saw the good times. They acknowledge the bad at the end, but think, all right, he's rested, he's refreshed, he's ready to come back and do something.
Because he hasn't coached in over a year, right? That's why he's rested and refreshed.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, and I got to give a shout out here to this guy Young Gautama on Reddit, who put together this analysis with data to support it for every time a coach has come back to manage a club in a second stint over the last 30 years and found that by and large, their second stint is 8% worse than their first. So between 20 to 8%. So you're not seeing very many people who come back to a team and do as good or better as the first time. So, I'm a very analytics driven guy. I look at something like this. I look at the effort that was put into it. And I think, there's some sound reason behind that. It's already sort of like this amalgamous questionable decision. Like, is this truly what we need, or are we just doing this for the sake of appeasing fans? And when you look at how, things have historically gone with second stint managers and it just doesn't look good, maybe he comes in, proves us all wrong. But, like I said, I'd support him if he came in, but I just don't know that that's the right call. So you've got him as the top one. Next, Thomas Tuchel. And please, God, no. Like, I would not want Thomas Tuchel at all.
Yeah, he's a creep.
He is a creep. Next up, Thomas Frank. I'm pretty sure he just signed a new contract, so he would be an expensive pickup.
That dude's not going anywhere.
Bring him.
Not going anywhere.
I've been telling you guys for 3 years. He's my guy. Bring him.
Absolutely great manager, but yeah, he would be expensive. He's not going anywhere, especially to a team that has some stability issues, to say the very least. I think what he's got at Brentford right now is a pretty good deal.
True.
Next on the list, Christophe Galtier, who, again, would be an awesome pick, but he literally just signed on for PSG. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Not when he could just fucking win titles and win titles and win titles.
Right. Guaranteed titles, guaranteed Champions League.
Yeah. So he's staying there forever until the ownership of PSG gets sick of him for winning so much.
And then the
like they did with Pochettino.
Yeah. Then
like,
the fifth on the list.
Don't win Champions League, you're out.
Yeah. Fifth on the list, Roberto De Zerbi. Again, he just got appointed at Brighton. He's got a good thing going right now. I just can't see him leaving. Or even if he does, it's going to cost an obscene amount of money. Like, if those are our top betting odds choices, I am not super confident in that. I would love, and this is just me sort of fan casting our next manager, I would love to see somebody who's young, who is, kind of an unknown entity, just for the sake of like not having a whole lot of expectations. Somebody like Marcelo Gallardo, who coached down in Argentina, very highly rated manager, attacking minded. He hasn't been doing this for long, and certainly not in Europe at all. But like, that's the sort of wild card pick that I would love to see, just because, he's not coming with this, like, he's going to come in and win us cups. He's going to get us X, Y, and Z. No, he's coming in to start a project, to build something, to get us in a direction. And that's kind of what I want right now. Just a manager to come in without many expectations placed on them and to just let them fucking cook, right? So somebody like that would be great. But that brings me to the question that I've been eager to ask you guys for the last few days.
Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
No, we already did that one.
Well, Steve, I love it when you ask that question.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, so there's a clear divide, right? Like there are Spurs fans out there on social media talking about, well, we're fourth place. Yes, the football is anemic and listless and awful, but we're top four. Like we're getting results when we need to. It's not always pretty, but it happens, right? And then there's the group that's like, yeah, but I hate watching us. Like this is just misery. So my question to you is, do you want because let's be honest, Conte is not lasting past summer. He's checked out. We're not going to extend. That's fine. I'm over it.
I'm agreeing.
Do you
with that.
want our next manager to come in and play an absolute boring, awful to watch, tactically inflexible brand of football, but we're guaranteed to finish in the top four? Or would you rather have somebody come in to bring exciting, invigorating ideas, but we might not get that top four spot? What is more important to you?
I'm gonna tell you right now that I got some names I'm gonna throw out at you in a second, but I want the guy who is going to be Pochettino when he first came in. Relatively unknown, where the fan base is gonna go, what the fuck are you thinking? But he's got great progressive ideas. He wants to move things forward. He wants to try some things with the younger kids. And just maybe give other players a chance, because we do have aging superstars, right? We know Harry Kane's not going to be there forever, probably not going to be there next year. So do we want a project manager? Yes, because obviously the win now guys aren't doing the job, right? Are they not doing the job? So De Zerbi's the guy. Pochettino, he did come out and say, we need a project. We need to have a project at Tottenham. This is what needs to happen. And Daniel Levy was like, fuck you. See you later. Everything fell apart because we're not going to give you the money that you want. But the win now managers, we'll give the money to them. We'll spend a shitload of money. I'm going to throw a couple names at you. Fonseca. What do you think of that?
I didn't hate the idea when it was an idea a little while back.
Okay. Hansi Flick.
Okay.
What's another one? Vincent Company. He's been mentioned a number of times. Is he even on that list, Steve?
As a matter of fact, he is on that list. He is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th right now.
9th.
14-1 odds, tied with Allegri and Graham Potter.
Allegri. Okay, so I think Graham Potter's been given a raw deal at Chelsea. He basically came in and said this was going to happen whether he was there or not, and I agree. I think De Zerbi is the guy that we would really want, because he checks all those boxes for me. But and he's taken what Graham Potter built and built on that, right? I think that Graham Potter was doing great things at Brighton, and he gets to Chelsea and it's a big bag of dicks. And they tried to stuff more dicks into that bag during the January window, right? Thomas Tuchel's a no for me. He's that guy's a nose picker. But and the other one that nobody asked really mentioned was Luis Enrique, right? What's his deal? He's super interesting. He's plays progressive ball, maybe not as exciting as we want it to be, but I think that with the players we have, they would fit right into a system like that. But I for me, it's gonna be Pochettino. I mean, it's the writing is on the wall. And if it's gonna be Pochettino, then we have two options. Either Daniel Levy needs to tell Conte, needs to fucking nut up and tell Conte, get your fucking ass back here and coach this fucking team like I'm paying you to do. because he's being paid and he's got a contract. If Conte didn't want to do this anymore, he would be gone already, because that's the type of guy he is. If he's completely checked out, he's either just cashing a check or he would be gone, right? Those are the two options. Daniel Levy needs to fucking nut up and say, get your fucking ass back here and do your job like you're being paid for, or bring Pochettino in now, or bring your next manager in now. Because if there's a thing that's happening where everybody knows that Tottenham is changing their manager at the end of the season, we pretty much know that Conte's not back, right? Should we just bring in the new manager now, get everybody acclimated, get that new manager bump, possibly keep us in fourth place? Because right now I think we're going to end up in 6th or 7th the way we're going. If we're out of Europe, I'm fine with that. But get somebody in now, or let Conte run it out and see what happens. But I think they already have a plan in place. They have their manager, I think.
It's interesting.
I know there's a lot to unwrap there, and
there's a ton to unwrap.
I like Hansi Flick though too. I mean,
yeah, I like Hansi Flick. Steve, my thoughts. First, I have to be honest with myself, and money matters in football, right? Money matters, and regime money matters. So we could have a separate conversation about, is it realistic to think that teams like Man City and Newcastle, that are funded by regimes, are not going to occupy the top spots just because they have the money to throw at the problems. We'd like to say, well, a good manager brings the team together and catches lightning in a bottle, and that does happen sometimes. But if we're looking at the data over time, guess what? Big shocker here, guys. I'm going to make a claim. City's going to catch Arsenal, and Liverpool's going to find their way into the top 4. Just going to throw those two things out. So the top 4 spaces are limited to start with. I'd much rather week to week watch enjoyable football and just be able to have fun watching my team than be tortured with mediocrity, holding on for dear life to a top 4 position. That's my take. The Pochettino thing from my end, what I like about the Pochettino thing, and I'm not a fan of him being the choice, but what I like about the Pochettino thing is the concept of unfinished business, and the concept that there was more that he wanted to do and more he could have done, but he got so run into the ground by lack of support and lack of funding. And let's be honest, just kind of lost it there at the end, right? And so I like the idea that he could come back motivated and driven. I like the idea that he could come back with a mindset of, you're going to work your ass off and we're going to be a fast team and a running team and an active team. I like that. I hope he's smart enough, if he comes back a second time, to make sure that he gets the guarantees from ownership about what that's going to look like. Because if he just walked into the same deal, he's an idiot. And if he can't expect to be supported like a Conte or a Mourinho was, there's a definite problem there.
Well,
but
he came in, right? He came in as Maurizio Pochettino, Southampton, right?
Yeah, up and comer, right? He came in as up and comer,
Southampton coach. Nobody knew who he was. Now he's Maurizio Pochettino, Champions League semifinalist, and league on champion, right?
Yeah.
So and he's won a number of cups, and he's a ex-PSG manager, and you can't say that he failed there. I get that, they put a super team together or whatever, but super teams don't always fucking work. I mean, look at the Lakers now, right? They're the worst team, and one of the worst teams in the league, and they have arguably some of the best players in the league.
Sure.
Super teams don't always work. Just because you don't win Champions League doesn't mean shit. We have to also remember, though, that what we remember of Maurizio Pochettino was fun, exciting football, but we also have to remember that whether or not we got to the Champions League semifinal, we have to realize that at that time, that's when the team was falling apart. That's when everything was falling the fuck apart. There was the Burnley match that like he flipped out, right? And yeah, and like
The
2019,
insistence on playing
2019,
Winks and Sissoko.
2019,
Winks and Sissoko.
and then yeah, he like 2019 into 2020, like he had
Colchester 2-0.
Yeah, he was playing the fucking diamond nonstop because he couldn't figure out anything else to do.
Yep.
Delhi nobody was listening anymore. The team was toxic. And I think some of those toxic players, I think one of those toxic players is still there.
Which one do you think that is?
Eric Dyer.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've started to come to that myself, but
I
didn't want to believe that.
I think Davinson Sanchez is part of that club too. But
never mind the data Steve shared.
We have to remember that
six FA Cup boot outs, right?
We have to remember that at that time when we thought everything was great, everything was falling apart. We limped into Champions League after that season. We barely hung on. We barely hung on there. I think it took the last day to secure our spot. Right. So like everything was great 2014, 2015, 16 and forward when he came in and he was building and building and building and building. And then the money stopped happening. And he wasn't getting any support from ownership. And he's like, well, fuck this then. I'm going to cash out. And I don't necessarily blame him, but you're right. He has to have guarantees.
Would have to.
And
if he doesn't,
and now he has that power. Now he has that power because he's ex-PSG manager versus ex-Southampton manager.
It's very true.
I don't know. Sorry, Steve.
Steve, did we answer your question? What do you think, Steve?
I think so. Regardless, I've said it before. I've kind of already chalked the season up to a loss. I don't expect us, even if we manage to get the win on Wednesday, I don't expect us making a really deep run in Champions League. I don't expect us to really show much cohesion over the next few games. We'll probably get they're easy games on paper, right? Nottingham, Everton's in there, Southampton's in there, but I don't want to hear the players coming out and saying we can do better, we can be stronger, we can be a little bit more decisive. Just fucking show me.
You need to be a little more clinical in the final third. No shit, Sherlock, right? Like, we get
stop saying it. Show me.
Yeah,
show me you can do that.
We need to work on our mentality.
It's like those pitchers that come out and give up 4 home runs, and then the pitching coach comes out after the game is like, he threw a really nice game.
Yeah,
it's like
except for the 4
fucking
home runs.
Shit. Except for the 4 home runs, the 8 runs that he gave up.
Tomorrow we go again.
He was locating his pitches well. It's like, tomorrow we go again. You're exactly right. Like, stop the fucking platitudes and go out there and play the fucking game.
Oh, I thought we played a really good game. Really, Salini? Because I watched that game and it looked terrible. Like, yes, we bossed, but there wasn't any effort that I thought, wow, you know what? That was close. We're actually going to get something. Even the 2 times we hit the crossbar, the Pedro Porro free kick, that was probably the most exciting moment of the game for me. The other one seemed more like a fluke. But regardless, aside from those 2, what was there? I don't remember being that excited. No. Sure, we kept him out for 80 plus minutes, but that's not enough. Like, you can't just fuck around with the ball for 80 minutes and expect to win because you've got a higher possession stat. Stats like that don't win games. The only stat that matters, goals scored and goals allowed.
Look at Man City versus Tottenham.
That's very true. Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
No, Mike,
I love it when you ask that question.
I know you do. Mike, your Wolves forever tonight on your screen, which is good. Wolves jersey, their kit. What color is it?
Yellow.
It's orange.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. I read today it referred to their kit as orange. I was like, it's not an orange kit, that's a yellow kit. So help me make sense of this, because
it's orange.
Orange. Orello.
Yeah,
there we go.
All right,
gross.
We solved the problem.
Hey, Steve, I know we're past the Steve witching hour. closing thoughts before we wrap up? What do you got?
Yeah, I've just got one closing thought. And it is this. And I really need everybody out there to listen to me very carefully. Because this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire podcast.
Ooh, I'm curious.
For the love of God, Harry Kane, stop taking those fucking free kicks. Just stop it. Just stop. I don't want to see you on free kick duty ever again.
Thought you were bringing something new, but you went back to the old tried and true. So good job, buddy.
It needs to be said. That I think is probably the only thing that gets over. We always talk, oh, well, Sonny's not in a great run of form. Oh, Perisic is fucking him over. Oh, Lucas Moura ran out of defender. Nobody ever wants to call Harry Kane out on his bullshit. I'm going to do it. Fucking score goals a normal way and let somebody else take the fucking free kicks.
All right, there you have it from Steve. Mike, closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts are these. I know I said that, we're in fourth place and I've done that whole song and dance. It's come to the point where, and I'm going to steal a little segment that they do at the beginning, Dr. Tottenham too. Another callback for them. The 5 words or less.
Love fest.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, right? It's because I love Sammy so much, but it's they're 5 words or less. Yeah. I'm sick of this shit.
It's a good one. That's a good one. And I like that segment too. That's a good segment. I agree.
It is. That's my 5 words or less. I'm sick of this shit. There's 2 guys out there who gave everything to that game, and one of them got subbed off, and the other is Skip. I think Skippy is the embodiment of what we want in a Tottenham player. A homegrown guy, an English player, strong, good constitution, is out there to play for the club and play for the team and play for the badge. If we had 10 other guys out there like that, this team would be battling Arsenal right now for the top spot. What we have out there right now is a collection of guys who are players, and to a point, Christian Romero is also out there playing for his club. I think Christian Romero, that dude's got a fucking screw loose. He's a fucking nutcase. Like, we thought Lamella was crazy. Christian Romero's a fucking nutcase. Yeah. It's in a good way. He goes out there and he pesters people and he gets pissed off and he tries to get his team fired up. Højbjerg did the same thing, but Højbjerg's just, the guy is tired. We've broken Højbjerg. We broke Perisic. Perisic is 135 years old and he came in at like 36 this year or whatever it was. However old he is now, but now he's verging on being a mummy. And he's about as effective a footballer as a mummy right now. But like, if we had 10 Skips out there, or 10 Dan Kulusevskis out there, DK as I like to call him.
No, he's DK. All right, not DK anymore.
No, DK 21.
Nice.
Like, if we had 10 of those guys out there, 11 of those guys out there, like, I honestly believe we'd be in a position where we're battling for top spot. Problem is, we just have a collection of players who, for one reason or another, can't play in a system that is built for consistency.
Mike, if I were going to do my 5 words, it'd be, why is this so hard? And then I'd follow that up with, that's what she said. But moving forward, why is this so hard? I agree with you, some of your comments there. I also want to throw out Pedro Porro. I really like his attitude, and I'm gonna make this generalization, which is unfair. Sergio Reguilon, another Spanish player, I really liked his attitude. He didn't produce, but his attitude just on interviews, social media, like he was coy, right? And I can already see that with Pedro Porro. So when you talk about like the Oliver Skips of the world, I'm gonna preemptively lump Pedro Porro in there as a guy who's going to be coy through and through until he either doesn't produce and we get rid of him or whatever happens there.
I think he's growing. And he'll be good.
Yeah,
I like him.
I
think if we brought Reggie back, I don't see how he'd be any worse than what we have. And actually, he was playing into his role before we got rid of him.
We could use the left back, right? We could use the left winger. We could use
Destiny Udoji
next year, but like right now, we could use somebody.
Well, we're not going to recall. We're not going to recall Reggie
because we have what do you call him? 135-year-old man? Is that you?
At least 135.
Yeah, him, like Brendan Fraser and The Rock are like
right.
Yeah. They were in the Mummy movies, right?
Hey, at least Matt Dougherty can play out there and
wah, wah. All right, gentlemen, well done. This has been Wicked Spursy. To our viewer, you're the best. Whoever you are, we want to know.
It's probably me.
It's probably you. To our listeners, we love and appreciate you. Steve, wrap us up.
Don't be an asshole.
And Michael?
Be safe, everyone.
Oh, you skipped the coist. He's moved on from Lucas Moura. It is gone. Is that what I'm feeling right now?
Yeah, the love is gone.
Just a straight be safe, everyone. So we'll leave on that note.
Come on, you Spurs.
All right.
Oh, I ruined it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so fun.